I wanted to get into something that Rex Chapman has thrown into the content stream saying, and I agree with him. Bill Walton, when he died, the outpouring was so impressive. And this part is super rare, okay? It is super rare when a Hall of Famer dies and the eulogy isn't about what he did to be a Hall of Famer. Like, that's usually what we know is here's how this person was great. That's how they were defined. It's not with an outpouring that has love in it for who the person was beyond the play, because I really do feel like the way Bill Walton is being celebrated is so universal and so soaked in love that it's about the person and not what you identify with the person doing in their career. It's just, this was a man who was colorful about life, and it was enduring even beyond a Hall of Fame career.
I have to say, not to get serious on everybody, but that the way that Bill Walton is being remembered has been very inspiring to me. It's made me think, how can you go about every day making every moment the best and having this impact on people? Because I don't know that I've ever seen, as you're saying, I've never seen anything like this. And there was something really moving to me. And, he made me want to be better, Dan.
It's super rare to have 3 days of coverage on a death hitting sports fans, on a light going out, on something that goes from really colorful to dark in a way that reminds you of your mortality, but also makes you do things like what Rex Chapman is doing, which is, why didn't we tell this person these things, all of these things, when he was still alive? And he was talking about doing an Alive Appreciation Day for some people who are so beloved in this particular way, because it's not just about greatness. It's about the energy you take around you every day, person to person that you're meeting, leaving people with the impact of I'm Bill Walton. When we were eulogizing him earlier this week, I told you how remarkable it was that that person was able to do that while always in physical pain. Because all the people I know who are always in physical pain, they don't have sunshine on them that they're distributing. Physical pain can be something that if you're involved in your self-involvement, you can feel that above all other things, and it will affect how you treat people.
Dan, to be fair, he battled depression, like serious depression. He talked about it a lot as pain testing his ability to be like present in the moment and happy and all those things. So I don't know if Bill Walton was successful. But he presented.
No, forgive me.
Right.
He was successful because the enduring thing that he left when in contact with others is you were not feeling that depression.
Right.
I mean, he was, now whether it was a mask or not,
Yeah.
the feeling he was leaving others with is an energy of positivity, despite the fact, I wasn't even talking earlier this week about the emotional pain that he's in.
Right.
The physical pain of 38 surgeries. I don't know how that person did that. I don't know how he was able to get out of bed in pain in the morning and go spread sunshine outside his house when he was in that kind of discomfort.
I wonder if that's partly why, because he knew how painful things could be. And so he felt the need to, or not the need, he felt compelled to make the moments that he could make great, to make them great. There's a preciousness to what he was experiencing because, I think there are more people than you would think who are in pain, whether emotional or physical, who go hard in the other direction in terms of how they present publicly, because it's so dark inside. It's a way of bringing light in or bringing light to other people.
You think, Amin, he was not successful in this regard? Because I don't know how you define success when the eulogy or the obituary is soaked in so much. That person made me feel good. We're going to show you a Mike Breen story in a second that I thought was super moving. But when you say you're not sure that he was successful in overcoming that, am I misunderstanding what you're saying?
I guess I wonder, how many times have we heard stories of people who make everybody happy turn out to be profoundly unhappy?
Robin Williams.
Owen Wilson, who's still with us. But, he's a guy he's funny, he's always a positive guy and all that, and it's like, yeah, this dude was dealing with horrible depression, and so, I don't know, I didn't know Bill like that. I knew he talked about it though. I know he's talked about it very openly, in fact, about his struggles, but I guess I wonder if they present in a way that just makes us feel better, aren't they just making us feel better and basically further insulating themselves in with whatever pain
Yes.
they're dealing with?
Possible for me to know him well enough to tell you whether he was actually lonely or not, but it didn't seem like it. Like it didn't, it would seem with that kind of pain and that kind of depression that you would be alone with it, even if you're around people. But when he left the house, he left an impact that is, to me, the reaction to this has been startling. It's 3 days, and I'm telling you, there have been any number of people who have died around here. Pieces of my childhood have been dying recently, and it gets skipped over in the news because there's not time for it. Plenty of Hall of Famers. I haven't seen what this reaction is, where the human touch of this person was such that when you lose the humanity to death, people are impacted in a way that we're still talking about it days later. And Rex Chapman is bringing up what I think is a conversation I want to have, which is, who are the people you would bestow in both pop culture and sports right now with the honor of saying, I'd love this person to know right now how much he means to people. Like, I think Kobe Bryant, the world that he lived in, because it was so competitive and because there was so much hatred around sports fandom, my guess is that Kobe would not have seen what the outpouring was when we lost him, feeling that way, where even Shaq gets thawed and changed by just wishing he had said certain things to Kobe while he was still alive. Let's play here the Mike Breen clip so that people can see what Bill Walton was doing when people weren't around with cameras and looking and trying to see who he was in public.
So my dad had Parkinson's disease, and it started to get advanced to the point where we were afraid he wasn't going to be able to travel much. He didn't really want to go out of the house much. So my younger brother, Pete, gave me a great idea. He says, before Dad can't travel, why don't we take him out to San Diego, where the USS Midway is stationed as a museum. My dad served on the Midway during the Korean War and had not been on the aircraft carrier since he left the service. So we made plans to go, and of course Bill lived in San Diego, so I called him to get a hotel recommendation that was near the Midway. And of course Bill was like, you're not staying in a hotel, you're staying with me. And I convinced my father and my brother, and the three of us went, and we were going to spend 3 days at Bill's house. And when we got there, first thing Bill did is he put my father in the Bob Dylan room. The bedrooms were all named after people that meant something to Bill, and usually that's something to do with musicians. And the Bob Dylan room was a place of honor. So that's the first thing he did. Well, Malika, for the next 3 days, he did not leave my father's side. Wherever we went, wherever we ate breakfast or lunch or dinner, he was seated right next to my father. If we went for a drive in the car, my father was in the front seat next to him. And always like, John, you're next to me. John, you're next to me. Didn't leave him at all. And then when it came time to go to the Midway, we thought we were just going to go and buy tickets like everybody does who wants to go take the tour. But when we got there, Bill had called in advance, and he called to tell them that one of your heroes is returning to the ship that he served on. So the commander of the Midway is the one who greeted us. And we went on for about a 2-hour tour. And let me tell you, an aircraft carrier is no place for a 7-footer, especially one with back problems and knee problems, because there's small little areas. You've got to duck everywhere you go. And it was a painful walk for him. But he walked every step, again, right by my father's side. And it was very emotional for my dad to go back. And there were a couple of times where he broke down. And so, of course, my brother and I got emotional as well. And then I look at Bill, and he's got the tears streaming down his cheeks. And it was a special day for him and having Bill next to him.